It looks bad at this moment that he's giving $40 billion to Argentina. Does it not?
It should always look bad,
Yeah, I disagree with that. I don't.
Really?
I do. Look, I'm so far America first. I'm America only right now. I want good trade with other foreign countries, but I don't want to be involved in their foreign wars or their bailouts or their foreign causes or their foreign aid.
So that is Marjorie Taylor Greene appearing on Real Time with Bill Maher, continuing her, whether she wants to describe it this way or not, and she does try to couch her criticism of Trump. She is going through a public rebellion against Trump and the MAGA movement, and it gets called out by Maher himself. He points out, well, Trump is pissed at you, and Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't deny it during this episode. It's pretty interesting, but before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, folks, during the most recent episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, I was surprised because I did not know this. When I went to HBO Max last night to watch the episode, it said guest TBD, so it didn't even say in the preview that MTG would be on there. I don't know if that was a glitch or if it was like, one of those great plot twists or whatever. Marjorie Taylor Greene appeared on the most recent episode of Real Time with Bill Maher. And again, as we've discussed, it's really important to keep track of when right-wing, right-adjacent, MAGA-adjacent, or full-blown MAGA cultists like Marjorie Taylor Greene engage in some sort of defiance against Trump because it weakens the MAGA movement. And a weak MAGA movement or a weaker MAGA movement is objectively good for the country, right? Anything that shatters that total control. And again, you'll see throughout the clips, Marjorie's careful. Greene is very careful. She doesn't say Trump sucks, Trump, and she goes say, I still love Trump. I still love the president. I'm still a big fan of his, but it is a rebellion. And we've been seeing it over the span of weeks, if not months. And I think a lot of it has to do with the Senate race that Trump scuttled that Marjorie Taylor Greene was interested in. We'll unpack all of that, but I want to play some other clips as well, including this one.
I would love to know what the Republicans really want to do about health care, which is the premiums are going to go up tomorrow.
Me too. I'm waiting for the plan. I haven't seen it yet. That's been a lot of my angst. So a lot of the things I say are against my own party, but they're mainly my frustrations in Congress. I believe that Congress should be solving a lot of these problems. However, Congress is not solving these problems. And I have Republican leadership. Looking at Obamacare, it was passed in 2010. It went into place in 2014, and premiums have skyrocketed ever since. It was good for some that couldn't afford health insurance or couldn't get health insurance. But for the middle class, small business owners, people that had to buy their own insurance, it has crushed them. And so I
want to stop right there for just a second. Again, a couple things. We got to unpack this. Again, note, she's very careful. This is a MAGA rebellion against Trump, but she recognizes that whatever the future may hold, Trump is still the king right now. So note that even though she criticized, she's like, my own party, but I'm talking specifically about Congress. But what is the Republican Congress if not Donald Trump's political proxies? It's not like they really function independent of him. They serve at his leisure, even though that's not what the constitutional system establishes. The Constitution says that we have three coordinate branches, and members of Congress don't answer to the president, right? They are not employed by the president. They can't be fired by the president, but it has become a cult of personality. So it's interesting. She tries to have it both ways. She wants to benefit from the perspectives of the rebellion, from the optics of deviating from the MAGA cult without totally pissing off. She wants some of that plausible deniability. But even know how she describes Obamacare. It's really interesting. I'm surprised. The Marjorie Taylor Greene of 2 years ago would not have described Obamacare in such decent terms. Now, and I want to be clear. So my father voted for President Obama during his first term, voted against him in his second term precisely because of Obamacare. He felt that his insurance premiums were going to rise, and they did because he had his own insurance. So I want to be clear. It's not like Obamacare didn't have, and did not increase costs for people. They did. But to her point, and to the point of people who defend Obamacare like myself, even though that's not good, that is not good, the good that it did create outweighs that, which is that it gave people health insurance who otherwise were not eligible for it. It eliminated the precondition clause, right? Because prior to Obamacare, insurance coverage you could be denied insurance coverage because you had a pre-existing condition. Obamacare said you can't do that anymore. That's good. That's objectively good. It outweighs the bad. It's shocking to see a MAGA Republican congresswoman say, oh, okay, Obamacare didn't totally suck in every single way. It just increased costs. Well, that's part of the reason why the Biden administration enhanced the government subsidies for the ACA to try to lower the premiums for people. That's the entire point of this healthcare fight as of the past 48, 72 hours in particular, because those Biden-era Democratic-led enhanced subsidies expired because Trump let them expire. Democrats were willing to work for him. He has total control of the government to continue those enhanced ACA subsidies to protect the American people from skyrocketing insurance premiums. But Trump hates Obama more than he loves his own supporters. And so he was willing to screw his own supporters to undermine Obama's legacy. I mean, it's just the politics of this are fascinating. And it is interesting how even though she says she's not shit-talking Trump, I'm shit-talking Congress. Well, no, by extension, you're taking it out on Trump too, which is good because Trump has failed. Trump promised to repeal and replace Obamacare since his first campaign, and he failed. She doesn't want to reckon with that, but let's continue.
I've been demanding
Obamacare has crushed them? Obamacare is what's hurt them?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you, for example, when Obamacare went into place, it took my own family of 5 health insurance policy from $800 a month to over $2,400 a month, more than our mortgage payment. And that's what so many people have experienced over all these years. But here's the big problem. It's about to skyrocket in January of 2025. Here's why I'm angry. The Democrats passed Obamacare, but yet the Republicans have never done anything to correct the problems that exist with it. And I blame my own party. That's absolutely wrong. And I don't think it's an easy thing to fix. However, it's something that we should have a plan for. And Mike Johnson, for a month now, cannot give me a single policy idea. And I'm angry about that.
We'll talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene's pivot and how she seems so much more reasonable. I mean, can you imagine? It's almost like a split screen. And this also comes up. We can't go over. We don't have the time to go over the clips. But Bill Maher calls this out. And he's like, what the hell happened to the Jewish space laser lady, right? I mean, like, didn't you say this like wildly anti-Semitic shit? And she was like, no, I that's not what I meant. I never said the phrase Jewish space laser. Again, trying to paper over her history of anti-Semitism. Marjorie Taylor Greene has said and done some truly unhinged shit, from anti-Semitism to the 2020 election denialism to the conspiracy theories, and all of that's there. And I can't just pretend that did not exist, and I can't rule out that that's still not there. So I'm approaching her with trepidation. It is interesting to me how she is using this moment to try to reconfigure her public image, which is why my approach to Marjorie Taylor Greene is to just use her as a wedge against the MAGA movement. I think that's how Democrats should look at it. Like, if she has a true change of heart and a redemption where she's still conservative, but she's not crazy and she's willing to speak out against Trump and she's dropped the anti-Semitism and she's dropping the conspiracy theories, okay, we can work, but that's not been established yet. In the meantime, what is very clear is that she's pissed off at Trump. She's smart enough, which again, I mean, demonstrating some truly Machiavellian cunning here. She's not going to call him out. She's not going to say Donald Trump sucks. I'm against Trump. Trump fucked up. The most she'll say is, yeah, I'll disagree. And again, I'll play you one more clip where she, I'm willing to disagree. She's very careful how she does it. But even the way she's describing Obamacare and the Republicans' relationship with it, she's like, yep, it caused people who already had insurance, their premiums to skyrocket, which is, again, objectively a complaint. Then she says, actually, what's worse is the Republicans, because of their failure, and indirectly Trump, they're about to make it worse. Again, that's why the polling is so atrocious for Trump on the government shutdown, and why it could get even worse than that. I mean, who knows? It's not guaranteed. And it's going to hurt red states and rural conservative voters and Trump supporters more than anybody. Liberals and Democrats, they're going to get screwed. But the states that benefit the most from the ACA and who need the ACA enhanced subsidies the most, and SNAP benefits, food assistance, red states, red districts like Marjorie Taylor Greene's. So it's stunning to me that this is where we are. And again, she doesn't want to say it, but Trump campaigned on repealing and replacing Obamacare, and he had total control of government from January 2017 until I guess it was January 2019, because Democrats swept the 2018 midterms and then they receded in 2019. So he had 2 years. He had the White House, the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court, and he still couldn't repeal and replace Obamacare. He failed spectacularly, and so is her party. And I appreciate the fact that she's calling that out and calling out Mike Johnson by name. One last clip.
My question about the president to you is this. He commands a kind of loyalty I've rarely seen in American politics. But it's bending. I mean, when I look at some of the statistics, Obamacare premiums, they're going to go up. Obviously, the food stamp issue we were just talking about. New car prices going way up. Beef prices are up 15%. I mean, he ran on, I'll get rid of inflation right away. Turkey, Thanksgiving's coming, it could be 40% more. I was reading about Iowa, the cost of tractors and fertilizers is up. Labor is scarcer because of the immigration policies. He's got a beef with wind, which affects a lot of the people in red states. My question is, how much can he bend it before he breaks it?
All right, I want to stop right there. Okay, we're going to get to her response. Notice her reaction there. She smiled patiently. She didn't give anything away. She didn't go, yep, that's right, Trump sucks. Or she didn't deny or contradict either. She is walking a fascinating political tightrope because everything that Bill Maher said was true. Trump campaigned on ending inflation. Day one, I'm going to get rid of it. And again, now after the fact, they're like, well, I was exaggerating. Come on, he was exaggerating. No, asshole. That's what he promised when he was soliciting votes from people. He told people repeatedly that he would end inflation and wars on day one. He has failed to do so, and it is perfectly fair. It is reasonable. It is, I would argue, a moral imperative to hold Trump to the standard he established for himself, especially when he used that standard to solicit votes. He swindled people, in effect. It's perfectly fair to call him out. And his economy, I mean, even the polling on the economy, I keep saying this, Republicans have enjoyed a historic, decades-long advantage with respect to the economy on polling. The American people are just convinced that Republicans are better for the economy, even though the data say otherwise. Trump's polling on the economy is as bad as Biden's was. Biden was a Democrat presiding over, post-COVID supply shocks and inflation. That's pretty fucking bad. This used to be Trump's best issue by far because even he had the Republican buff, right, the Republican polling buff, and he was seen as this mimetic, brilliant, genius businessman. And he squandered it all. I mean, the delta from between the heights of his polling in the economy to where it is now is shocking. And I love the fact that Bill Maher, again, who I think is a bit too soft for the most part of Marjorie Taylor Greene on this, but at least he's putting this out like, hey, your boy sucks. Your boy made all these promises. He's failed. Things are going in the opposite direction. I appreciate that. Now, let's see how she responds.
Well, I represent a district that everything you just talked about has affected them very deeply. People are barely getting by month to month. They're maxing out their credit cards just to pay their rent, and it's extremely sad. I tell you what, I'm a big fan of President Trump. I really am. I make no apologies for it.
She says she's a big fan, makes no apologies for it, but has spent this time criticizing him and his policies by way of the Republican Party. So again, interesting tightrope. I just want to say here, again, I am not promoting the whitewashing and the same washing of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I am simply noting that she has been, over the span of weeks, if not months, doing an image PR pivot. And it could reflect genuine frustration with the failures of the Republican Party and with Trump, but again, a caginess to recognize, okay, she's 50 years old, Trump's 80. He is constitutionally term limited, so maybe she's thinking, okay, he's not going to try to stay in power unlawfully in 2028. There will be a Republican Party eventually without Trump. I still want to be in politics, so I have to find my lane where I can cling to relevance now. I can't just be totally excised. I have to have a foot in MAGA world, but also be looking to the future. And I genuinely believe a lot of it, too, is she's pissed because she wanted to run for Georgia Senate against the Democratic incumbent, Jon Ossoff. And the polling showed, even Trump's own pollster, Tony Fabrizio, was like, if Marjorie Taylor Greene runs, she will win the primary in the Republican Party and then get clobbered in the general because she's too extreme. So this could be, she's pissed off because Trump basically told her behind the scenes, if you do this, you're going to cost us the Senate. And she was reportedly pissed. But it could also be, again, maybe in the next time, like Senator Warnock's seat becomes available, or in the next time against Ossoff, she might run again, or she might run for governor of Georgia at one point. Who knows? But this is interesting, this mix of surprising shrewdness and flexibility and general frustration and petty partisan spite against her own party. And again, she's one of the biggest fundraisers in the MAGA movement. And so to see her, turn on Trump and the Republicans in this way, I think it is worth exacerbating to the extent that we can. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.